Hi guys, how are you doing? I hope that you are doing fine. On my side, I'm doing great and I am so excited to be here once again. I want to take this opportunity and welcome you to another episode of Rescue Eve, and I am your host, Mary Karuga. So, if you are new here, feel at home. Welcome to the channel where we unlearn, learn, relearn. And if you are coming back, thank you so much. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. Thank you. And if you haven't subscribed, kindly do hit that subscription button. Kindly hit the subscription button. Today I'm so excited because I'm talking about love. I love love, and I know you love love. And I have why I'm doing this is that because I thought I was the only person who was stuck, who have always had struggles for a long time ever since they got born again without dating, because there are so many things that we don't know about dating. And sitting down with my friends, talking to them, and I found this is a big problem. So many people are struggling, and I felt so confident, and I was like, I get you, because I have had the same fears. I have had the exact fears that you had. So I went ahead and now asked people what can be their biggest obstacle in dating, or what can be your biggest hindrance. And so many people have told me that they don't understand all these things. They don't know how to love and a man and love God. It has always been hard. And they have so many questions which I had that sometimes they are unable to get it. They want this relationship to work and they don't want to compromise. What should we do? So love is one thing that if you want to be loved, we know that you want someone who will treat you as a queen and you will feel like, oh, we all know that. And again, love is one thing that has made ladies to do most of the most craziest thing one can ever do. you know. So I went ahead and asked many girls, and I found that the struggle is the same. So the questions that I had is, how do I know he's the one? There are many. How do I know he's the one? How far is how far? How should I know that it's leading to marriage? Dealing with heartbreaks, I'm unable to love the way I used to love because I'm really struggling in that. And there's so many. How should I wear when we are going to a date? How exposed should I be exposed? And I was like, it's like in the same class, with all the people that I met. And I was like, why not? Why not? Why should I not do this and maybe rescue someone who is struggling? And if you're not struggling, you can also comment and say something you had overcome. This is what you think. Let's make it a conversation. So I'm going to start off with how far is how far. I'm going to start off with how do I know he's the one? I would say that's not an hard one, but it's a hard one. I would say that you know through prayer. Number one, pray. Even before you say yes to him, will you be my girlfriend? Yes. You really have to pray about it, and pray when you have removed your emotions. If you think he's the kind of person that you ever want, no, don't go to God at he's wearing the way I'm wearing. I love my boyfriend to wear, all my future husbands to wear. He looks the way I want. I have ever wished my husband would look in everything. Do not separate your feelings. Separate all your qualifications that you feel like, yeah, this one has qualified to be my boyfriend. And now go before God and tell him, show me your will. Is this the one? Genuinely. Ask God for a date, or rather have a date with God and tell him, I want to talk to you about this man, and I want you to tell me who this person is. And God is glorious. um one thing I have confidence about is that Every time I go before God and I ask God, I want you to show me who this person is, God does not even delay to do that. Go and ask God, I want you to expose this person. He says he's born again. Is he born again? He says, all these things that he has told you, and you think that this person is the one because of maybe how they talk, how they sing, how they pray, and you think they're the one. Now tell God to expose them to you, and God will expose them to you, and you will know. They will actually start maybe telling you things, and you're like, or they will start maybe doing things, and you'll be like, and they will not be able now to hide themselves to you again, you know. So number one is prayer. Before committing, before saying yes that you want to be his girlfriend, just know that you have to pray and ask God for guidance. Ask God to expose him and ask you and show him, who he is. And as ladies, we are ladies. You will hear a person say that I bought a shoe and I have been praying to God and telling him that if the person come and fit this shoe, that is my guy. If the person come and fit this belt, this jacket, that it's a confirmation. Girls, anyway. um Number two, so number one is pray to God to show him who he is, his weaknesses, to expose who he is to you, even to know how deep he is in the things of God. If you're deep in the things of God, you won't be looking for a person who is shallow, because you might end up being in the shadow also, so ask God to show you where he is, where he stands in your things, in the things of his kingdom, and God will, number two is, if you're tempted to change anything, if you're tempted to change the way you wear, the way you talk, even maybe you're professional, because you feel like this is exactly what he wants for you, you have to be king. You have to be king. Please don't change the way you wear. Don't change your looks for someone. If you start doing that, just know that you are wrong. In this, allow me to use a soap opera in the same. I know most of you have still watched soap opera or even movies. In soap opera, there's the stars, this girl and there's this guy who they were meant to be. But there will always be two guys. These are two people also. A guy who wants the lady, and a lady who wants the man. These two people who are forcing issues, they go extra mile, doing so much, trying to win these people. But these people, it's like they are not even recognizing them. It's like they're even invisible. You know how lady we do stuffs, wearing short clothes, for us to look attractive. He's not the one. He will love you the way you are. Don't change for love. And think, if you're forcing issues, drop it. He's not the one. So the next one is, he respects your values. He respects your stance, and he respects your values. How to know that, another point to know that this person is for you, is that they do not kill your dreams, they support your dreams. That's something else we don't get it. They do not kill our dreams, they support your dreams. I have seen so many people who have done great, together, because the two partners are supporting one another. So it's best to know that that they will always support you. They want you to win. They want you to become a better person. That is, that is the key thing. They want you to become a better person. They want you to win together. So if you don't find a person who respects your dreams, a person who wants you to change, even, or rather they're telling you to change who you are, if you are just wearing long dresses, they're telling you to stop. Just think about, that the person who wants you to change, these are way they will communicate. They will not just come and tell you, oh, you know what, just ask God for the spirit of discernment to know all these things, because only the spirit of discernment can help you get all these things. So the next one, how far is how far? So I break that down in sex, hugs, kisses, pegs, and pecks, holding hands, and sleepovers. So I did put kisses, sex, and sleepovers together. And I said hugs. For me, I guess hugs are okay, but not those tight hugs. And holding hands, why not? You can hold hands. Yeah, you can hold hands, as girls. Most of the girls, those are the things that make them happy. So if a person does not hold them hands, they will be like, maybe probably they're not showing enough. Um, so sex, sleepovers, and kisses. I start with sleepovers. Sleepovers. A person actually asked sleepovers or visiting. Can I sleep over and can I visit? And if I visit, should I visit alone or with a friend? I would advise, if you are visiting, visit him with a friend. It's advisable that way. Sleepover, I would say no. The main reason why is that do not put yourself in a place where you will be forced to compromise. Do not, because that is a door that you have opened, and when you open that door, you might fall into sin and end up, you might end up having so much guilty because of what you have done. So it's always uh, good to stay with to live with wisdom. It's always good to live with wisdom and know that this is a door the enemy is opening, and I have to determine, and I have to choose to say no. You know, I cannot do that. I will not come to your place because I don't want to place myself in a place where I'll be forced to compromise, or rather, I'll just compromise. And also, I would say we are witnesses. People are watching every move that we do. And I don't know why we think that, I'll go to a person's house and yeah, I didn't do it, nothing happened. Who told you everybody else is thinking as you're thinking? So many people ought to think, and you can't go justifying that I said that and say that they had just gone for sleepover, nothing happened. And even some of the people will not even believe you. Just know that you're a witness of Jesus Christ and you carry the light. You are a book to be led by many. And if you want to be a good book, try and close every door, because it's upon you to close every door that the enemy is tempting you to open. It's always important to live a pure life. So say no to it. Know that I am a witness of Jesus Christ. Know that I am surrounded by a million witnesses, and how I live my life, probably that is exactly how they are going to live. They are going to copy paste. They saw me do this, so I'm going to do this. They heard me say this, they will think it's not wrong to do it, because they saw a person who was head of them doing us. I'll read a verse in Hebrews 12. Therefore, since we are surrounded by a great crowd of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and every sin that clings so closely, and let us run with perseverance the race that is set before us. It's something that we really have to choose to do, to run this race the way it's supposed to we are supposed to run, knowing that um knowing that so many people are watching us silently. You may think that no one is watching you, but so many people are watching you, and they are copying what you're doing. Jesus Christ being the perfecter, of our faith. So at the pioneer and the perfecter of our faith, and he did live a perfect example here on earth. So we really have also to choose to live like him, determined to be um, those good Christians. And one thing and funny thing about us human beings, we will think in it, we will do what you're doing. It's a story I love in John 4. I don't know if it's John 4:27. The Bible says that Jesus was talking to the Samaritan woman, and his disciples had left. I mean, we are human beings. We are. We have evil thoughts that come and up and cross our mind. And when the disciples were coming back, they saw Jesus talking with a woman, and they marveled and they were like, Jesus is talking to a woman? But they did not say anything. But in their head, they thought, what did he wish? And what was he telling the woman? What were they talking about? That is us human beings. We will think stuffs. We will see, but we won't ask you. Yeah, so that's how human beings are. So always remember, do not put yourself in a place where you might compromise. And there's this line I love using a lot, that the enemy is not a boy. He is not. He just wants you to open a small door like this, and then he will come in. He will come in. And all the thoughts of like, hey, he will use the coach, and then I will use the bed, and then you are doomed. And then you're here crying with guilt and everything. Oh my God, I sinned. But you can avoid that. Yeah, you can. So the last one is sex. And when I had this, there's people who are still born again, and they are really thinking, they're still having these fights of should I do it, especially when the relationship feels like it's wavering, because your partner wants this and you feel like I cannot compromise. I'm here to tell you that you cannot afford to compromise because of a relationship. Why does he want you to fall? Why? You cannot afford to fall. You cannot afford to. You can't. Say no and say no and say no and say no and say no. So we are going to talk about, the dangers of doing it. We will go through some points. My thoughts of all this is that it in 1 Corinthians 6, I'm a member. This body is a member of Christ. So me being a member of Christ, this body being a member of Christ, it means that this life is not. We know that this is a sin, and we know it, and we know that it's only sin that can separate us from God. But we will go ahead and do it. So we rather be separated from God and please a man. Let me remind you of something, a relationship of the first people that God created here on earth, Adam and Eve. When Adam and Eve sinned against God, God had to remove them out of his presence. The relationship was damaged. The relationship was destroyed. And because of that, God had to send his only begotten Son to come and reconcile us with man. Sin is so costly, but until we get it, we can never understand that. Until we find ourselves in messes that we are unable to get it, and until we get to know how costly this can, then that is when we just take it so casually, because we don't know how costly it is. There's this book I'm reading. It's called the Lost Books of the Bible. So yeah, now I'm reading the Adam and Eve story. And if you know the struggles that these people went through, all their lives they were at the door of the Garden of Eden, pleasing God to open up for them. They really struggled. Okay. Yeah, so you have to know, you have to get it that sin is so costly, and because of that you have to stand firm. Don't stay in places that are too risky for you. Don't damage your relationship with God because of a man, because of love. Has he not loved you enough? Has he not? for you to like, do this. It's not fair, it's unfair to him. And the second person we see, him sinning, and God is like, what have you done? It's David when he killed Uriah. Yeah, that one. He killed Uriah and he took his wife. Imagine. And because of that, God was clear, dead for dead, dead for dead. And the child that they did go with, Uriah, died. Sin is costly. Joseph understood this clearly. He understood that if I dare do this, my generation is at stake. So I'm going to leave all this palace and I'm going to say no to the wife of Potiphar. And she's beautiful. She got that. It's a point of saying no, even if you will suffer, do it for your generation. Because you cannot want to sin. You cannot want to risk that your whole generation to suffer because of just a small thing, because you think no one is watching you when you're singing. In your heart and mind, think about the cost, the pain, and the struggles you might bring to your generation. David thought that no one was watching, but God in heaven watched him do all these things. And him being the just judge, did what a God of his kind can do. He is a God of order. What he says, you don't unsay it. So that's some biblical stuffs that you really have to stand with. Think about it. Whenever sex is mentioned, think about this thing. Think about how costly it can be to myself and to my generation. It can be so costly, and you don't want it to happen to you. So it's also important for you to communicate with him and tell him, I cannot do this. Don't leave because he has mentioned sex and you're like, are you not born again? Try and communicate your values and your stance. Tell him, I cannot do it. Why? Because the Bible says this and this and this. If he is for you, probably he will listen. It's also important to ask God to give you a group of people who are dating, where now you can go and put your struggles on the table, not necessarily your struggles, like these questions that you feel you don't have answers to, and put them in a circle, and talk about it and talk about all these stuff. Probably it will help. Also read books. There's a book I read, and I think it's important for all girls to read that book. It's called The Day in Waiting. It's a very amazing book. So you should read and you know write it. Okay, and you should read it for you to stand firm in everything. So that's it. I guess these are the most important things to do. Communicate to him. Assume you don't know. Assume he even doesn't know he's born again, and tell him, for me, the way I understand the Bible, this is so wrong. Or even maybe he might be testing you. You don't know. And then you will be saying no and even blocking him and doing all these things. You may communicate to him and make him understand why it's important for us to stay pure until the day of marriage. Yeah. Okay, the last one. If he is for you, he will stay. And if he is not for you, he will not. And one thing I have a very big problem with guys not accepting these facts. This one is not for me. We don't accept. We have seen all red flags. We have seen everything, but yet we are still, thinking, is he the one? What if I leave and he's the one? No, he's not the one. You already know it, he's not the one, but you're afraid to leave him. He's not. You know it. I actually know better more than me. And your heart can never lie to you. So there's this thing that is going on. How do I know he's cheating? Do you think he's cheating? He's cheating. So it's just as easy like this. How do I know he's the one? I think he's not the one. He's not the one. That was a joke. So to wrap it up, know that you're Christ ambassador, born to present him and to talk for him on his behalf, or rather, I don't know, to present him. So make sure that you present him the right way. Make sure that you are doing the right thing. You are the light of the world, you're the salt of the world. You only give what you have. So always guard the Holy Spirit. Always guard that salvation. Jesus went through so much for you to have it. So much. So much. He went through so much pain for you to be saved. So please don't allow the enemy to come and lie to you. He knows when you stay pure what can happen to you. That's why he's lying to you that doing all these things is right. So that's all I have for you today. Next week, we are going to deal with how do I know it's leading to marriage. Because I answered that. How should I be when I'm going to dates? How exposed should I be? How? I'm at this point in my life, I don't want to be ignorant about anything. I'm questioning everything, Yeah, so I guess, and dealing with heartbreaks. So that's what we will be looking at next week. Bye bye, and thank you so much for watching. Kindly leave a comment, a like. Let me know if this broadcast has really helped you. Bye bye. See you next.